Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and in this one we are going to be having a look at the hybrid meta within which we exist. Some junglers are farming and doing very well, some are perma-ganking and doing very well, some are doing both, some are invading, some are not. Essentially, you can almost jungle like a maniac if you understand the limits of your champion and the meta, and therefore coming up in this jungle guide, a Yuumi dies, Hecarim invades some chickens, and Katarina steals a dragon. And if all of these highlight moments are something you want to record and not lose to time, and given I just lost the replay of a Dragon Steal and 2 Baron Steals in the same game, all due to Riot's 2-week replay limiter, the sponsor for today's video is Outplayed. Outplayed automatically records kills, assists, deaths, and other important moments, so you don't lose things like Baron Steals. It takes less than a minute to set up your settings for League, from highlights to a full session, set up hotkeys for that crucial, Baron Steal. I'm not upset. It's okay. Share your highlights easily via Discord, YouTube, or anywhere else, but for the montage enjoyers amongst you, the video editor is easy to use and primed for your hashtag short creation. Click the link in the description below to download Outplayed for free to ensure you can capture every game-winning play you make. Right, and as we begin this game, remember, if you do enjoy this content and find it worthy, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And you will notice we have a Hecarim versus Shin Shao, not the most eclectic matchup, but we do have some interesting runes. I'm just kidding, they're very standard and boring. But the gameplay, my friends, the gameplay, that is not boring. This is an absolute crazy 20 kill bomb Hecarim game. And he doesn't do it in a boring way, he does it in a way that makes his player seem unhinged. Definitely in real life, the guy was angry at something because he played like an absolute maniac. And you know what? That's okay, because this is a perma-challenger Hecarim player who I've followed for years and featured in videos before, so he knows what he's doing. Unfortunately, the Karma didn't know what she was doing, as the enemy red team decides, you know what, we want first blood this time, and of course the enemy team has the Yuumi. I literally try to avoid having Yuumis on the team that I'm focusing because it just seems unfair and stupid. But what's not stupid is highly intelligent jungling. Now, we see that the bottom lane is not going to leash. We happen to be a challenger Hecarim player, so we decide, you know what, instead of full clearing like all Hecarims are supposed to do, we don't collect stamps, we're going on a cheeky invade. Shin Shao always expects to have the aggression on his side of the map, while the enemy jungler like a Hecarim or Karthus are just for clearing. So the Hecarim is going to teach him about expecting the unexpected. And now while the invade is good because you kind of deny the Shin Shao the ability to do a red Raptors Grom and gank your Karma who has no flash, the problem is, if you go for this invade and scan your approach, you will know what is and isn't warded, and of course if you hug the blue buff into the topside bush, you're avoiding any residual vision from the control ward. The trick here was to notice that the Yuumi started with 1 health pot, not 2. After she gets an assist from the bottom lane, she will now have enough cash monies to buy that control ward. Even so, if you don't notice these things, it's good to hug to walls and pay attention to lane prior when you go on these highly risky invades, shall we say. Just in case they have the vision, because you do not have a scanner to check. Our challenger Hecarim of many seasons seems to be installing a Windows update in his brain because he doesn't have a scanner and he walked over control ward. So while he is able to steal that blue buff and gallop off into the distance, it's not the best invade, of course, and now we've stolen the blue, cool, but now we've also died. I told you, he's gonna get 27 kills, but he's gonna do it in an unhinged way. He does know how to snowball and get fed. So let's observe what he does after this, because of course, people die, we make mistakes, but it doesn't mean the game is over. You can still go forth, carry games, and get fed. Just don't compound these mistakes with more. For example, if you simply take your red and go invading, none of your camps are taken off the map, so why would you head topside when you know the enemy jungler now has free reign over the bottom side? Also, while you decided to L9 into the enemy's Nexus at level 2, the Karma died in a 2v2 because she had no flash, which means Yin is standing on his tower with the enemy team thinking that the Hecarim's gonna go topside, of course, and the level 3 jungler with the double bottom lane, he will be 3v1 dove, and the Hecarim here makes an excellent read and says, no. Runs on over, makes sure he gets a kill, makes sure he kills the enemy jungler as well. And now while a lot of you might think, hey, job well done, cool, now I can do my full sequence, right? You can go Krugs, Raptors into the blue side, maybe a top crab. Yeah, the dude at 12 CS, which means that bottom crab is still available. Let's snack that baby, and instead of, retreating back into our jungle from our own over-aggressive plays, let's make sure we still control the river. This is all about hybrid jungling, ganking, farming, invading, counter jungling, doing everything you need to do in a bit of a crazy way. This body language and this aggression can really shut down a lot of junglers, and this especially works extremely well in low elo, where they kind of, if you make any sort of loud noise, they just run away like a cat. Now, while the Zilean has some prior on the mid lane, we can double scuttle, of course. Now, a lot of junglers, again, would simply transition this to a top lane gank or back into their blue side jungle. All your camps, though, happen to be tier 1. You haven't secured them yet whatsoever, which means the highest camp for you to secure is the enemy jungler's Raptors. It also means that if the enemy jungler makes a mistake, which they will do in your elos, by going to the bottom side for no particular reason, he takes wolves, he holds mid lane, we know where he's going next 100%, set the trap and kill him. However, I normally wouldn't make this play. I would just take the Raptors and leave because I deny him the experience, and I also don't add in the coin flip of, a Hecarim coming from base that you can easily time because it's early in the game. I mean, I did say in the intro, jungling like a maniac and using hybrid aggression to basically farm and get ahead. Except this time we're respawning, the Xin Zhao is now forced to go to the bottom side. He has nothing else other than that Gromp and a diveable bottom lane. So you will observe him do that while our Hecarim protagonist says, you know what, I'm not quite yet ready to farm, because I can always sequence that very, very quickly, but if I make sure the whole enemy team is, permanently dead, as he chases down the Katarina and tower dives her at level 4, yeah, sure, they get a lot of gold back from him, but he gets gold from them, and he snowballs harder because he can sequence so quickly. This is very reminiscent of the China jungle video I covered at the end of last year with the Graves 1000 RP. I'll link it below. He basically said, you know what? If I can get 1, 2, 3, 4 kills early by playing like this hyper-aggressive, even if you get kills back, I'm still having more kills and assists than my deaths, and I will be able to sequence very, very quickly, and my atomization spike means I can use it on the map, and basically I just heavily snowball from it. It's the jungling of the psychopath, but in this case, now we have done a solid job. However, obviously we're going to lose the dragon because enemy jungler ganked bottom lane, they're going to take that. The Hecarim can go to his blue side and finally begin a full sequence. We really need to get those camps to recycle at this point. Here's where this measured aggression comes into play. He's not really playing like a mindless fool, I'm kind of presenting it in a funny way, but he is thinking deeply about what's going on. The enemy jungler ganked bottom lane, got a kill and did the dragon. He saw he was level 4 when he did that. He knows now he cannot afford not to take the Grump of the Wolves in his blue side jungle and wait for that blue buff to spawn, so he needs to take those and go to the red side. So Hecarim takes the RNG's random crab, the first one to spawn, fortunately, clears a control ward, and just literally gallops into his red side jungle and says, I'm taking your Raptors, and I'm taking your red. Given the nature of the lanes and the unknown, the enemy jungler, the Xin Zhao, cannot afford to reciprocate this invade because he's just floated the other direction. A Hecarim will very easily be able to recollapse if you try to go for this invade now. It's too late for him. In essence, this Hecarim play, this aggression means the enemy jungler is doomed. And I don't mean it in a general grievous way where it's kind of like they're not actually doomed. This guy literally is. And yes, as you would have seen, he was able to kind of push the Hecarim off the Raptors and at least get something back. But again, nothing else to do. We know Hecarim's going to cut down to the bottom side to protect his red camps. Now the Xin Zhao can simply do the Herald. The thing is, while you do that and waste time, basically in terms of your own experience and fusion, you will get gold back. The Hecarim is killing your ADC without even using his ultimate. He's taking his Krugs, he's taking his red, he's level 7. It also means that we know the enemy jungler as the Hecarim would definitely go ahead and steal our Grump. We're not really concerned about that Grump because now we want to flex our power into the mid lane once more. This permanent drive-by that we're doing, even if they're not actual ganks, are really probably frustrating the Katarina because she can't really afford to fully commit if she knows there's a stampeding six-legged beast around the corner. And as you saw, that's exactly what happened. Push the wave, clear a ward. Now you might feel compelled to maybe stay for that Scuttle Crab. You might feel compelled to perhaps gank top lane and maybe take your wolves. Don't be. We're jungling like an absolute lunatic and we need to make sure that enemy jungler doesn't get anything back. So what we do is we go back to base to finish our Divine Sundara, and then now we know the enemy Xin Zhao is going to be forced to go to the bottom side. No top camps, took the Grump most likely, definitely took the Herald, Dragon's the next order of business, and of course we have a bot lane that is ahead with a Yuumi. Hecarim says, I don't enjoy this. We also have that vision confirmation, so we know the enemy jungler's in the area. He decides to not really go for the play and decides to instead counter jungle the Hecarim, which was obviously ill-advised as he ends up deeper fried than the chickens that he just consumed. And on this channel and in my coaching, I talk very heavily about not spaghetti pathing. That means you don't want to retrace your steps too much, you want to have deterministic pathing, you want to know where you're going, and if you need to react, you can react without having to retrace your steps too much. Fortunately, if you happen to be a sort of Nunu or a Hecarim, you can forego this, even a Viego because of his E. And now you can run up and take the crab, you can go to your blue side jungle, miss the Grump, say, well, that's down, I don't really care about the enemy jungle, I'm gonna take the Raptors, then I can fall back to my blue and Grump, and now I can reset. And the reason we're not too concerned about the dragon at this stage is because giving up the first and the second dragon, while it's not ideal, it's absolutely fine in this meta. We're happy and we know that this is not going to go to Sol. We are the fed ones, we will make plays. So, Xin Zhao is able to secure it. And now most likely with Katarina roaming, we'll look to make a dive on the bottom side. Hecarim, Zilli, and anyone who's watching the map and watching the lanes will understand that this is 99% going to happen at least one time in high elo. And I'm not sure if I can exactly tell you what happens here. All I can tell you is that the Hecarim dies, the Xin Zhao goes to the tower and then dies, and then enemy bottom lane, because it's a Yuumi and a Ziri, one of the most obnoxious things ever to be paired together in the history of the universe, survive between 2-3 towers, go back and eventually kill the outer tower. As weird and crazy as this game has been in terms of just hyper-aggression and playing with your feelings and emotions, Now it's time to engage our brain matter and make sure we can win and carry, and hopefully kill some Yumis in the process. Right now, of course, we need to farm a little bit. We do technically want 11 as soon as possible. The next objective is the Rift Herald number 2. So we sequence our red side, we're shadowing the mid lane, we're Hecarim, we can rotate very quickly. As soon as they get impatient and make a play, which Aziri, Yuumi, Katarina always will, turn on the speed boots and get yourself a triple kill. You are fed, you can make this play. The key is to make sure you're not sequencing Raptors red Krugs so that you can't rotate. Do the Krugs first, move into your Raptors. If you need to do the red, pull it up. You're always looking for the quick rotation to these mid-game fights. Take the Herald, use the Herald, kill the top laner. The fact that the enemy team is now playing with their toys, which in this case is your bottom lane, we're not really concerned about that. They're just, stuffed animals to keep them distracted. Reset, get your death stance, rotate to the fight, which they're still doing for some particular reason, get another triple kill. Push the mid wave, and now it's time to push the map. Ladies and gentlemen, do not fall back to your farm. In this case, take his farm. For now, you have the lead. This game is in your hands, or hoofs. Yoink is blue, yoink is gromp, yoink is honor. Fall back to your camps, make sure you are ready for the dragon fight. Now, in these situations, it's really nice to actually get it because you have the lead, but the goal very much isn't, just the dragon, it's actually destroying the enemy team, winning that fight, and using it to get even more objectives. So ideally, we should have got it, but the autopathing seemed a bit whack. But then he played Whack a Kitten and killed their entire team, including the Yuumi, I need to stress that. And I will link the match history in the description below, and you can see very much that the gold lead was equal at around 13 or so minutes. And when I said, let's turn it up now, that's when the Hecarim did, and that's when this gold lead just absolutely ballooned. It's all about delayed gratification, baby. Make the enemy think they have a chance because you're playing like you have rabies, except the enemy jungler really doesn't think you do. He knows he's just being screwed. And then you turn your speed up to 11 in the most literal sense, and all of a sudden it's just ballooned. Right now, as we do technically want to push the map out further, we go back to base by the force of nature. Not only do we get movement speed, we get some stacking MR against the enemy Katarina as well as the Yuumi. When they do dumb things and your team actually does good things and you're farming your jungle, please don't keep farming your jungle. Use that opportunity to invade, steal some vision, and place some camps. And I know I said that the wrong way around, so I'm just going to leave it in. If they don't overcommit, you can simply set a trap and fall back to pushing waves. If they do overcommit beyond the vision line, which they will do, they're doing it in Challenger Korea, they're doing it in every single elo below, you just have to be in the right position to capitalize. In this case, we are. Take some more camps, take the crab, wait for your team to all respawn and coalesce as one organic unit, much like the worms that form a hunter in Halo, and then start to push towers a little bit more. Now, the most important thing in this case is you not overcommitting. Remember, we died a few times early with some silly plays. We need to make sure we don't make a mistake here that gives them a Baron. So as you're watching it unfold, do what you can in the fight. If some of your teammates fall, pull back, wait for your CDRs, wait for them to sort of reposition, thinking that you've left the fight, but you haven't. Go back in using your healing, your speed, your damage, your sustain, your conqueror stacks. Keep spinning your Q, twirly whirling in the air as much as possible, and if you have gone for Divine Sundra, Conqueror, Death's Dance, that healing is kind of obscene to deal with, and you should have no issue playing with your food, finishing them off, and then going to the Baron. And that's right, we spent so long in the first half of the game, and now we're just speed rolling through the second half, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're making it sort of going, oh, wait a second, how did we lose? The game was equal, and then Hecarim just got 27 kills and we lost. And that's exactly the kind of impact you want to have in the mid to the late game when you want to close games out. Now, after the Baron here, you can in theory reset, go spend your cash monies, but if the enemy team is just dribbling out of base, they're tilted, really take the nail to the coffin. Stay out, kill them, take some more camps. If they push again, kill them again. You have sustain, you have grumps and blues you can steal, you have mana. You are Hecarim, you have Ghost, you have E, you have R. You can just keep going in and out of fights. You never basically have to leave. You can just be absolutely everywhere all the time. And that's why this hybrid playstyle is so good for him, because you can afford to make these plays, run out of basic rotations that you need to make, and then you can farm and then run to the next situation. You can afford to invade and go back to your camps and then invade again. This is what the champion provides, and this is why it's kind of an OP and very strong choice. It also means that no matter what happens in the game, you will always be able to scale and get to a point that you can make these kinds of plays. Remember, ultimately, if you're AFK farming and doing nothing else, that's bad. If you're spam ganking and not falling back to farm or objectives, that's bad. We're very much in a meta that rewards those that can farm quickly while still fighting and matching up well in PvP senses, which is why we're very much in the sort of Diana Hecarim meta. And now he's gone back to base and he's bought a Sterak's Gauge as well as a Randuin's Omen, and that is a bad omen for the enemy team, as the Hecarim will just run it down mid with his team, wipe them off the face of the planet, and hit the Nexus until destruction. So while this is a little bit not my style in terms of the hyper-aggression early and snowballing, if you want to carry the mid and the late game this efficiently, getting yourself to that point in those itemization spikes no matter what is the most important thing. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned something, hopefully you enjoyed watching that Yuumi die multiple times, and hopefully you understand when the invades were good and when the invades were bad. Obviously you don't want to die as much as he did early, but his decisions overall were still good. A little risky and a little coin flip, but he did do them with a good precedent. And this is a guy that I've watched for many years. He's been challenging career every single season since season 8 or season 7. If there's anyone that knows how to play Hecarim and really push the limits of the champion and the map, it's this guy. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you were able to enjoy and learn something. Please do leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe if you did and find the content worthy. Best of luck jungling like a maniac in your games and gaining some LP with Hecarim while he's very, very strong. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.